Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the AZ Sports Zone here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. As always, I'm your host, Alden K, for episode 42. Man, the Cardinals, they had one heck of a draft, especially a defensive draft. I wasn't able to cover all of the draft picks that they made the previous episode, so we'll talk a little bit more about the draft picks that they made. Like I said, they went all out on defense. We'll talk about that a lot. We'll even talk about their upcoming schedule, as the schedule is set to release within about a week and a half. So we'll talk about that a little bit, what opponents the Cardinals will be playing, and what will be the right time, or maybe take a guess on what their schedule will be like. Of course, we'll talk about the Phoenix Suns. They announced Brian Gregory as the general manager, and he will be replacing James Jones, who got shifted to the senior advisor role. So the Suns gave James Jones a little bit of a demotion. So we will talk about that, a little bit of controversy there, at least I think. So we'll talk about that as well. Of course, we'll cover some Diamondbacks baseball. They take 2 out of 3 against the Mets in Queens. For the first time since 2017, they win a series at Citi Field. And Ketel Marte made his return today against the Philadelphia Phillies, but they end up losing the first game of the 3-game series in Philadelphia. So a lot of D-backs inconsistency. We'll talk a little bit about how they've been playing lately. And, of course, we'll continue with the Arizona College baseball segment as we get closer to the end of the tournaments, or the start of the tournaments. We'll continue to talk about college baseball as well. But once we hear a quick word from our sponsors, and when we come back, we'll get right into the Cardinals. We'll talk a little bit more about the NFL draft and what they did in the draft. Going all in on defense. Talk about that when we get back. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the AZ Sports Zone here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We'll be back in a minute.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, single-A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all-brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clanking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the iSports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
And welcome back to the AZ Sports Zone here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Once again, shout out to our sponsors, Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet. You can order at the website, planetjerky.net, and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Of course, Vital Apparel, use the IESR code to get 15% off of the merchandise. And Seal the Deal Wax Seals, you can order at the Seal the Deal Wax Seals site. And of course, shout out to IE Sports Radio. Great to be back here on another Friday evening, continuing to talk Arizona sports. And of course, you guys can follow the two accounts that I run on X at AZ Sports Zone IE, where I basically retweet a bunch of Arizona sports news, give some updates here and there. Lately, I have not been doing that these past couple days because my X has been down lately. It has not been working on my phone lately, so hopefully that changes here soon. But I am active a lot more on that account than my personal account at the AZTRL. So that's my personal account. If you guys want to follow that, go right ahead. And of course, Taryn Rodriguez tuning in. First one here as always. How you doing, Taryn? So with that being said, let's get into some football. So I talked a little bit about the draft last week, but around that time, that was literally that was around the third or fourth round, so I wasn't able to cover every single pick for the Cardinals in this draft, but they went all in on the defense in this draft. They out of the 7 picks that they had, they only drafted one offensive player, and it was a guard from Texas, and that was in the 6th round. So they definitely had a game plan in this draft to really focus on the defense, which honestly, I'm not complaining about that. Normally I would, but with the offense that the Cardinals have right now, it really just depends on, obviously, Trey McBride coming off a career season. James Conner and Trey Benson, we're going to see more of that duo next season. And of course, I feel like next year the offense, it really just depends on the play calling by Drew Petzing, and it's really gonna depend on Kyler Murray and really just how he improves from last season. Cardinals are coming off an 8-9 year. Uh, they were a game away from making the wild card, and there were a lot of games that they could have won last season, but that one mistake that ended their playoff hopes. Uh, the Cardinals really upgraded their defense in this draft. I talked a little bit about Walter Nolan last week, how just another addition to the defensive line, how he's going to get mentored pretty well by Calais Campbell, along with guys like B.J. Ojolari and Darius Robinson, who's going into his second year. Um, but when it comes to this whole draft, though, they got Will Johnson in the second round, which is something that I'm still very shocked about. I know the knee injuries are a little bit of a concern, but if he can control or stay healthy, I should say, if he can stay on the field as much as he can, uh, it's kind of funny too because I've talked about the secondary in the past, how other than Buda Baker and certain other guys too, like Starling Thomas, uh, the Cardinals kind of lack a decent secondary. Like you can honestly make a case right now that Will Johnson is already the Cardinals' best defensive back, and he hasn't even played an NFL snap yet. Sean Murphy Bunting, who they signed on a 3-year deal last season, has not been living up to the contract that the Cardinals gave him. I know it's only $20 million, but for a guy who played in the primary defensive back last season, a guy who got called for pass interference too much and just holding calls, like it, a bad year from Sean Murphy Bunting last season. So they did focus on also in the third round, they picked up Jordan Birch, the pass rusher from Oregon. So, in defense, the defense started off kind of inconsistent last season for the Cardinals. And they did get better around the midpoint of the season, and then that's when the defense started giving the Cardinals so many chances to win games. Really, it was a little bit of everything on why the Cardinals missed the playoffs. Mistakes by the offense, particularly Kyler Murray. There were times where the defense, especially the run defense too, which is another reason why they went all defense, not just in the draft but in free agency, which I've talked about a lot in the past. Uh, the defensive line, I feel like, has been the issue since around 2018 or so. Um, so that's what they really wanted to improve this offseason. And they did that by bringing in Josh Sweat, Dalvin Tomlinson. They brought back Calais Campbell as well. And in the draft, they brought in so many young guys that can eventually take their place when their time is up with the Cardinals. So that's what I really like about this draft. And as we see here, Big Mike from Indie Sports Nation tuning in. How you doing, Mike? Uh, didn't mind their draft. Defense wins championships. Exactly. So and that's why I'm not complaining. Like I'm really not complaining about the Cardinals going all in on defense. The defense lost the Cardinals a couple games last season. And if your defense is on the field constantly, they can't get off the field. They can't really get 3 and outs, which is sometimes which was a thing that the Cardinals struggled with last season. Like it was always the defense that was on the field. They got tired a lot. The offense couldn't pick up a first down occasionally, especially when they were playing against really good teams last year. So I love all of the picks that the Cardinals made in this draft. Now, in the fourth round at 115, they picked Cody Simon, a guy from Ohio State. So the Cardinals get another Ohio State product, which I feel like with Monty Ossenfort, that has been something in these first 3 seasons where he's been the general manager. That has been something that he's been doing a lot lately. His first ever pick as a Cardinals general manager was Paris Johnson from Ohio State. So ever since the beginning for Monty Ossenfort, it's Ohio State has been his go-to as far as colleges go. But of course, with Walter Nolan from Ole Miss as well, Jordan Birch from Oregon, and then Cody Simon from Ohio State. They also drafted Denzel Burke, the defensive back from Ohio State. So a lot of schools with these defenders, Monty Ossenfort will take a look at. And so far, and they have guys that can mentor them as well. I already talked about Calais Campbell, of course, Buda Baker with the secondary. There's a lot of a lot of depth now on Cardinals defense. So really, this season really does depend on the offense. It's going to depend on the play calling. It's going to depend on the development of Marvin Harrison Jr. Not a really bad rookie season that he had, but it was kind of a rookie year that Cardinal fans were disappointed in, including myself. And a lot of that has to do with the miscommunication between him and Kyler Murray. If you guys remember last season, Kyler Murray came out and said that it wasn't really his responsibility to get Marvin Harrison Jr. the ball. Obviously, a lot of controversy built up when he said that. A lot of it is because of the play caller himself. It's been like that since Cliff Kingsbury was the head coach. Kyler Murray, he has this mindset where he's not the one making the decisions, which in most cases he isn't. But I feel like as a quarterback, it's your duty to really try to step up vocally and really try to give ideas to the coordinator. Try to give give as much input as you can for play calling. Uh, and we've seen Kyler Murray call plays in the past. Um, there were times where he missed a few games in his career where he was helping out the offensive coordinator call plays. So it's not that Kyler Murray's not capable of doing it. He can call plays. Um, but that's been an issue with Kyler Murray. He's not really as vocal as people would like him to be in the locker room or on the field. Hopefully that does improve though. But with this draft that the Cardinals have had, it's all defense, and I'm okay with that. I'm really okay with that. Offensively, I don't really think that there were that much talent that the Cardinals really could have used, especially picking at 16. There were a ton of defense, a lot more defensive talent in this draft. At least I think so. I mean, offensively, there weren't really a lot of options that the Cardinals really could have used. So, um, I'm okay with the defense. That that is something I saw coming. I think they were going to use like almost all of their picks on defense. I thought they would maybe use 2 or 3 picks on the offense, but at the end of the day, defense was the run defense, especially, or the defensive line in general. That was the Cardinals' weakest link last season. So you want to upgrade that in free agency and the draft? I think this Cardinals team can really compete for the playoffs this season. They were only 1 game away. They spent money this offseason in free agency, and now in the draft, they really upgraded the defense. So it's really going to depend on the offense this season, and it's going to depend on Kyler Murray, which is something that I've said in previous episodes. This upcoming year of 2025, I think this is Kyler Murray's last chance to really stand out as the Cardinals' franchise quarterback. I don't really consider him the franchise quarterback right now because you can't be in the league going on to 7 years and still haven't really done anything yet. So um, hopefully Kyler does take that next step. Year 7, and he's only gotten us to the playoffs once. So this season is really make or break for Kyler Murray. And this organization has been very patient with him too. So it's not like he's like one and done like Josh Rosen was. No, he's getting multiple chances, and this season's really gonna, especially, is really gonna depend on him. So I see Chad's in the chat. How you doing? And yep, Steelers fan. Happy with the picks that the Steelers got. I don't know if Ralph Calise is watching right now, but I know he wanted Shador Sanders. I believe the Steelers were picking at number 20, and he wanted the Steelers to get Shador Sanders, but ended up falling to the 5th round, I think. So, man. Oh, boy. What a rough outing that was for him. So, I know this may be a little bit too early. I kind of wanted to quickly, I'm not going to go deep into detail on this, but I wanted to quickly talk about the Cardinals' opponents for 2025 because the schedule is coming out in, I believe, a little less than 2 weeks. I think it's the 14th or the 15th. So the schedule is coming out very soon. And the Cardinals have, in my opinion, a pretty decently tough schedule. So obviously they have their division opponents. We're going to be seeing the Rams, Seahawks, and Niners twice, like always. It's always a competitive division. Obviously the Seahawks and the Niners, even the Rams, all teams in this division, they have a lot to prove this season. Obviously with the Seahawks getting Darnold, Stafford's back with the Rams. The Niners coming off of a disappointing year after going to the Super Bowl the year before. All these teams have something to prove this season. The Cardinals, who barely missed the playoffs. So this division, no matter what, is always going to be competitive. So like our division opponents alone already make a case for the Cardinals having a tough schedule. This division is very competitive, and we'll see how it goes. But other than that, the Cardinals are also taking on both of the South divisions. So they're taking on the NFC South. So we're going to be seeing Atlanta and Carolina in Arizona. And then the Cardinals will be traveling to Tampa Bay and New Orleans to take on the Bucs and the Saints this season. So the NFC South, the division that is always up for grabs, but a division that you could make a case that they are getting a little bit tougher. Panthers had a pretty good draft. Drafting U of A, obviously, they're going to have a really good receiving core for Bryce Young coming up. And of course, the Buccaneers, competitive. The Falcons, I think they're going to win their division next year. So there's that. So the NFC South will be a tough task for the Cardinals. And for the AFC South, they're taking on the South. They're taking on the Jags, Colts, Titans, and Texans. So they're taking on the Jags and the Titans in Arizona, and they'll be traveling to Houston and Indianapolis to take on the other two teams. And Jaguars getting Travis Hunter. Texans, always competitive. The Colts, I think they're going to be good next year. It really just depends on Anthony Richardson if he could stay healthy. And then, of course, the Titans getting Cam Ward. So the Cardinals will be hosting the number 1 overall pick in Arizona this season. So that's something to look forward to as well. And the Cardinals will be taking on the Green Bay Packers at home. Packers and Cardinals, always a good matchup. It's always a good, I don't want to say rivalry, but it's always good when those two teams play against each other. They have a really good history of previous matchups. And the other two placement teams, they're going to be taking on the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas, which Kyler Murray remains undefeated at AT&T Stadium. So a little bit good of history luck going into the Cowboys game next season. And then they're taking on the Cincinnati Bengals in Cincinnati. Joe Burrow, I think, is going to have an MVP caliber season, and it really just depends on their defense as well, obviously, which is what they struggled with last season. So I'm not going to give a schedule prediction or anything like that just yet because the schedule's not even out yet, but I thought I'd give a little bit of a rundown on who the Cardinals will be facing in the 25-26 season. A lot of tough matchups. Cardinals finished 3rd place in their division last year. So they're going to have a decently tough schedule, but I think that they can compete for a wild card spot this season. I don't see them winning the division quite yet. I think they're a year or two away from potentially winning the division. I still think the NFC West, and it pains me to say it, but I think that the Rams run the NFC West right now, and I think that's going to carry on to next season as well. But the Cardinals have a really good chance at least making the playoffs, and they've really improved these past couple seasons. So just thought I'd bring up the schedule. Once again, the schedule comes out in 2 weeks. So can't wait. Looking forward to it. Football is going to come back quicker than we think. I don't know, but I'm actually excited for Cardinals football for once. I think that this team can really compete this season. I think that they could have a winning record. So, but that's it for the Cardinals. We're going to go into our first break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the Phoenix Suns for a little bit. So the Suns announced Brian Gregory as general manager, and they moved James Jones to the senior advisor. So I do have a little bit to say about that. So when we come back, we'll get into that. So don't go anywhere. Once again, you're listening to the AZ Sports Zone here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Sports fans, do you like teams that are tough, cities that are tougher, and fan bases that are passionate about their teams? How about teams that are historic and stadiums that are iconic? Then you belong in Chicago, and you need to check out Chi-Town Weekly. Join me, Adam Kernan, every week as we keep up with all things Chicago sports. Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks, Cubs, White Sox. We'll cover them all, plus more. The Windy City is always buzzing, and we'll keep you up on all the big games and major stories. So tune in to Chi-Town Weekly every week right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey sports fans, do you like wine? Well, we've got the show for you. This is Let's Wine About Sports, a show where we talk about wine and sports simultaneously. From the classic Cabernet Sauvignon all the way down to the grapes that you've never even heard of before. Oh yeah, we cover it all. And we'll talk about a little bit of sports as well. Football, hockey, collegiate, women's sports, it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about it all, and we're going to whine about it all. So join me Monday at 8 p.m. on IU Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
And welcome back to the AC Sports Zone here on iSports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. If you guys are just now tuning in, I previously talked about the Cardinals draft and their upcoming schedule, which is set to release in a couple weeks. And with the teams that they play next year, a lot of fellow hosts on iSports Radio, it's a lot of their teams. Hopefully next season, I can really get them on my show here and we can talk about the matchups that we have next season because, you know, it was really fun doing that last year, my first time, my first NFL season on iSports Radio. So hopefully I can continue to bring people on here and talk about the matchups that the Cardinals will be going up against with their teams next season. But a team that, a team that doesn't seem like they're getting any better right now. You got to start somewhere, I guess, and that's what my Phoenix Suns are currently doing. So, after firing Mike Budenholzer, Gambo came out and tweeted that the Suns will not be finding a new head coach until they make the decisions in their front office, which they did yesterday. So, like I said, I was not able to tweet this news or anything like that because that has not been working for me for the past couple of days. No idea why. It is what it is. Hopefully, it turns back on at some point. But I was going to give my thoughts on this, but I wasn't able to. So I guess that's what AZ Sports Zone every Friday evening is for. So thanks for that, I guess. But I don't really understand why James Jones is the guy who gets scapegoated for the Suns continuing to have down seasons. I don't think it's James Jones' fault that the Suns are in the position that they're in right now because Matt Ishbia was the guy who wanted the Kevin Durant trade to happen. Matt Ishbia was the guy who wanted the Bradley Beal trade to happen. Matt Ishbia was also the guy who made James Jones, literally forced James Jones to do all of that. And he gets a demotion for it. See, once again, I'm not really the guy that's going to bash Matt Ishbia for the position that this team is in right now because he does try to improve the team. I know it's a crappy business. That's unfortunately how it goes in not just the NBA, but any other sports world. But I think it's kind of messed up for James Jones to get the blame for it when he's the guy who built that NBA Finals roster 4 years ago. Like this team was in the finals 4 years ago. James Jones was the guy who built that team. But when Matt Ishbia takes over the Suns, I mean, like I said, he's the one that wanted the KD trade, the Bradley Beal trade. He's the guy that wanted Chris Paul traded. And James Jones gets the blame for it. So he basically got a demotion, like literally a couple days ago. James Jones was the general manager and the president of basketball operations, and now he just gets demoted to senior advisor. I don't know how James Jones took this demotion seriously, and he's actually willing to stay with the Suns right now. Because if I were in his position, I probably would have said, nope, screw this. If you're going to demote me like that, I'm out of here. Find someone else. That's what I would have done. Because there's absolutely no excuse for the fact that you were in the finals 4 years ago. You had the talent on your team. You had the chemistry on your team. And you get rid of all of that for literally a 2.5 year rental of Kevin Durant, a 2 year rental of Bradley Beal, which was hauled but nothing with injuries and excuses on the court. You gave up all of that for those two, and now you're going to be looking to get rid of those two in this upcoming offseason. Like, to be honest, and I've been watching the NBA playoffs a lot lately. I loved watching the Knicks and the Pistons the other day. Jalen Brunson hit the game winner. I found more excitement in that team than the Suns, which normally I don't care about any other team other than my team. I watched Anthony Edwards send the Lakers home in 5. I get more excitement now watching other teams than the Suns at this rate because of mistakes like what Matt Ishbia is doing right now. And he pins it on the general manager, who, quite frankly, was not biggest, but one of the biggest reasons why this Suns team was literally 2 wins away from winning the Larry O'Brien. And if it wasn't for Giannis being Giannis, the Suns would have a championship by now. I see Marcus Lowe's grade our gloves off of. The trash Suns interviewing J.R. Smith. Oh my gosh. And Gambo did come out and make a statement that the Suns' next head coach is most likely going to be a younger head coach, and it's his first time being an NBA coach or an NBA head coach. So their coach next season is most likely going to be a first timer as a head coach, which honestly, depending on who it is, I'm not really complaining about that. We saw what they tried doing, hiring guys who have won in previous years. They fired Mike Budenholzer, which, Budenholzer was not a good coach. Frank Vogel, not the best coach either with the Suns. But when does it stop? Like, when do you stop scapegoating head coaches after one season? This is going to be Devin Booker's, 8th coach, and he's only been in the league going on to 10 seasons. He's going to have like 8 coaches, and it blows my mind that Booker still wants to be a Phoenix Sun at this rate. So yeah, we got our Larry Fitzgerald of the NBA, guys. But anyway, yeah, J.R. Smith. Like at this point, yeah, he's going to. Yeah, honestly, at this point, the Suns are they're obviously looking at all the options they can look at, but I haven't even gotten to Brian Gregory yet, their new general manager. So he was a guy that was that has been friends with Matt Ishbia since their Michigan State days. He was introduced as the Suns' vice president of player programming last season. So he has been on the Suns franchise. It's not like this is a new guy walking in, where a guy that nobody knows, and he's all of a sudden the general manager. No, so I obviously Matt Ishbia was gonna give the promotion to a guy that he knew well, a guy that he thinks is a good basketball mind. Which I'm not really going. I'm not going to sit here and say, "Oh, Brian Gregory is going to be a terrible general manager," because we don't know yet. But he has a lot to deal with. He has a lot to clean up. Starting with that Kevin Durant trade, which is becoming soon. Believe it or not, trading Kevin Durant is not going to be that hard. I know he's getting up there in age. I think he's going to be 36 by next season, 37, something like that. So it's still not going to be hard to trade him. Uh, I know Houston is currently down 3 games right now. A lot of that because of their offense. They can use a guy like KD, and they're a team that's interested in KD. So yeah, go ahead, call up Houston. Matter of fact, can we tamper KD right now and send him to Houston for draft picks? They could use him for Game 6. I don't know if Game 6 is tonight or tomorrow against the Warriors, but yeah, they could use him right about now. So trading KD is not going to be hard. It really just depends on the Suns' asking price, which they are going to ask for a lot. So maybe it could be hard at the end of the day. Teams not going to want to give up their whole future, this and that, for an aging Kevin Durant. They're not going to make the same mistake the Suns did. So I think, if anything, the Suns kind of helped other teams learn that they're not worth giving up their future for an aging, used to be superstar. Let's see here. Our Bleepin' City says, how much of a disappointment has Bradley Beal been for you guys? Yeah, for a guy who's getting paid $50 million a year just to miss games due to injury, and I mean, he got benched for Ryan Dunn last season. He got benched for a guy who got drafted in the second round, a guy who had a good rookie season. I'm not taking anything away from Ryan Dunn, but the fact that he got benched for a second round rookie draft pick, a guy who people said was going to go not undrafted but close to undrafted, which he almost did. He got benched for that, and he's the guy making $50 million a year. I don't know which is worse, his contract or Paul George. I know the Sixers had a worse season than the Suns did, but still, that at least Paul George, for the most part. I I don't know which contract is worse. Uh, KD to the Celtics. How much are the Celtics willing to give up? That's the question. And how much and because we don't really know the full details on that yet. We don't really know. We just don't know what the Suns are going to be looking for when trading Kevin Durant. They better not try to ask for the same price that Brooklyn asked for originally when they were trying to trade Kevin Durant. But at the end of the day, just overall a big disappointment last season. That had to have been probably the worst Phoenix Suns season I have ever witnessed in my lifetime. And I know I've only been on planet Earth for 20 years, but hey, and there have been a lot. That is saying something, because I've seen a lot of terrible Suns seasons in my life. I was there when they were winning 20 games a year after Steve Nash and that entire team was gone. I was there when Booker was playing with a bunch of G Leaguers and they were playing like crap. This season has got to be worse than all of those seasons combined. They're like spending hundreds of millions of dollars just to miss the play-in tournament. So overall, the Suns made the change. Brian Gregory is now the general manager for the Phoenix Suns. So we'll see what he does with the team, I guess. I knew they weren't going to go after Bob Myers, which is what Suns fans wanted, but Bob Myers is not going to want to work for Matt Ishbia, a guy who is just so far filled with scapegoating people. And James Jones, the senior advisor, is kind of sad. I don't really think he should be getting the blame for this, but it is what it is. So, anyways, that is it on the Phoenix Suns. We're going to go into our second and final break. When we come back, we're going to continue with the Diamondbacks. We'll talk about the D-backs and Mets series that happened in Queens the other day. The D-backs take 2 out of 3 against the Mets. We'll talk about the D-backs and Phillies series, which started tonight. Diamondbacks lost 3-2. We'll talk about that game as well. So don't go anywhere. When we come back, we'll get right into it. You're listening to AZ Sports Zone here on IE Sports Radio. Your direct feed to sports.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Big Mike from Indie Sports Nation. Come hang out with me each and every Friday, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time, where we talk things Indiana sports. We talk Colts, Pacers, Fever, Indy Ignite, and we dive into the college scene as well. Boilermakers, Hoosiers, Irish, Bulldogs, and every school in between. And we don't stop there. We'll sprinkle in some NHRA and cover the IndyCar series. From the turf to the hardwood to the track, we got you covered. Come hang out with your boy, Big Mike, each and every Friday, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Indie Sports Nation, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Everybody, this is Taryn Rodriguez. Are you a fan of volleyball? Are you a fan of Thunderous Spikes? Then I have the show for you, Set Point, where I cover NCAA men's and women's volleyball, high school boys and girls volleyball, beach volleyball, and even professional volleyball. Catch the action every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
And welcome back to the AZ Sports Zone here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. Make sure to check out Indie Sports Nation with Big Mike, and of course, check out Taryn's Set Point show. That man knows his volleyball. He is the biggest volleyball guy that I think I've ever met. So make sure to check out his show. He's got a lot of good volleyball takes on there, guys. We're going to get to volleyball actually on this show for the first time, so stay tuned for that. But for now, let's talk some Snakes baseball. So the Diamondbacks, after losing a 2 out of 3 to the Braves, they traveled from Arizona over to Queens to take on the Mets, a team that has a rough start to this season, and they take 2 out of 3. So, and this is the first time since 2017 that the Diamondbacks traveled to Citi Field and won a series against the Mets, because normally, especially if you're a Diamondbacks fan or even a Mets fan, you would probably know that the Mets have had the Diamondbacks number in recent years. So it's good to finally win a series against them, a team that that is currently leading their division right now, a team that is going to be tough for the National League this season. But in the first game, it was pretty bad. Eduardo Rodriguez had a bad game, and the Diamondbacks ended up losing 8-3. The Mets, from the very beginning of that game, jumped on an early lead. Brandon Nimmo had a heck of a game, and the Mets ended up winning 8-3. So they lost the first game. I feel like it's something I've seen with the D-backs a lot this season. They tend to lose the first game, and then like the second or third game at least, they'll finally remember how to play baseball again. It's crazy, which is what they did in the final 2 games. Both of these games were very close, with a little help from the bullpen, though. The second game they won 4-3. Very close game. Very close game. Ryan Thompson saved the day, though, after a pretty heart-pumping concern issue save situation there, but eventually the D-backs ended up winning that game 4-3, and they bounced back. And then the second game they won 4-2. Zach Gallen pitched a heck of a game the other day. 6 innings, only gave up 1 run. And it's kind of funny too, because if you look up Zach Gallen's ERA this season, look at his ERA playing in New York this season. If you guys remember earlier in the season, he when they played the Yankees, he pitched 7 scoreless innings. And then in Citi Field in New York, he pitches 6 innings and only gives up 1 run. So I guess Zach Gallen is a free agent. So I guess by the looks of that, if the Yankees or Mets sign him, I guess he's going to have a low ERA there. But yeah, Zach Gallen overall, a good bounce back game. He has had a season, so it's good to see him have that kind of a game, especially against the power batting lineup like the Mets, and that is what got them the rubber match in Queens. Or Believe in City says, "Good show, man. Keep it up. Hey, appreciate it, man. Appreciate it." And then a little bit, some good news and bad news, but today, yeah. So some good news. Ketel Marte came back. He played designated hitter today. Tim Tawa is still on the roster, which a lot of Diamondback fans thought that he was going to be the guy that got sent down. But actually, it was Jorge Barosa who got sent down, the outfielder. So he's back in AAA. Well, excuse me. But Marte is back after missing a long time with that injury that he suffered against the Nationals earlier in the season. So Marte was back. He led off today. He was able to get a base hit today. The Phillies had Luzardo pitch in today's game. The Diamondbacks had Merrill Kelly. Merrill Kelly had a really good game. The one thing that still annoys me to this day about Merrill Kelly is he refuses to stay hydrated and drink water, which leads to cramping. And Merrill Kelly left the game early, even when he was playing good, even when he didn't have that high of a pitch count. He left the game early because of cramping. So that, unfortunately, is what lost the Diamondbacks the game. And when I say that lost the Diamondbacks the game, it's because the bullpen came in. Obviously, there's no Justin Martinez or AJ Puck. Martinez is on the 15-day injured list with, I believe it was shoulder inflammation. And then AJ Puck was out with that elbow injury. He's going to be out on the 60-day injured list. So rough outings there. So Torrey doesn't have that much reliable bullpen arms to throw out there. So he threw out Jose Castillo, who gave up the lead, gave up 2 runs in the 7th inning. And that is what lost the Diamondbacks the first game against the Philadelphia Phillies in Philly. And it sucks because I really just, I don't know, this Phillies team, I want to beat them every single time we play them. And it's because of stupid stuff like this by Torey Lovello, mistakes by the bullpen on why they lose games like this. Stuff like this is going to be the reason the D-backs are barely hanging on in the wild card again this season. So hopefully the bullpen figures out their own issues and really hangs in there until Justin Martinez and AJ Puck do come back. We might not see AJ Puck until after the All-Star break at this point. So, but I'm glad to see Ketel Marte is back. Kevin Ginkel also came back in the Mets series. So while the D-backs lost a couple bullpen players, they did get a couple back. And Marte on top of that as well. So really glad to see that. Ketel Marte is back. Good to see our leader back. Hopefully he can really get it going. Hasn't played that many games this season. He got injured on a hamstring, so hopefully he doesn't re-aggravate it or anything like that, because that would suck. But I'm glad to see him back, and we'll see what how the Diamondbacks close out their series against the Phillies, or more so the rest of their schedule. Like, take a look at their schedule right now. The Diamondbacks take on the Phillies in Philadelphia, and then they take on the Mets again at Arizona, and then they take on the Dodgers in a 4-game series, and then they have the Giants in San Francisco. So these next 4 series or so, it's going to be very rough. So, yeah, well, hopefully they can keep it going. But, yes, guys, for the very first time here on AZ Sports Zone, I need to talk some volleyball. Aaron Rodriguez is watching. Because this was just dumb. I'm not the biggest volleyball nerd, but I have friends that go to GCU. I have friends who actually like college volleyball. Actually, this is just dumb. You got rid of their men's volleyball program after having the best season in their history. In their 17-year history of men's volleyball. And they get rid of their volleyball program. Because of budget cuts, I guess. The thing that makes me mad, especially about this, is the fact that they didn't even tell the players that they were getting rid of the volleyball program. They literally just, they basically just said, yeah, we're going to get rid of this. Players were finding out through social media. And I bet Taryn knows a lot more about this than I do. But from what I've seen, from what I've read on it, they didn't even let any of the players that were a part of the team know. Didn't let any of the recruits that they had for next season, they didn't let any of them know that they were getting rid of their volleyball program. And it's kind of sad that you don't even tell your players you're getting rid of it. That is crazy to me. That is something that that's probably what I got mad at the most regarding this segment. Obviously I'm a GCU fan, it's my school, but I really do feel bad for any GCU fan, any GCU alumni that likes the men's volleyball team or like the men's. We have to use the past tense term now. That liked the men's volleyball team. That just wasn't right to me. It and if you're actually a diehard volleyball fan, then that is a very bad move. You would think that that's one of the worst moves you could possibly make, to get rid of the program after the season that they had and then not even tell the players about it. They kind of did them dirty. I feel like if you have, like, especially after the season GCU volleyball had, if you have a season like that, you should really build off of that. But surprisingly, in a twist turning of events, they just got rid of it. Like they didn't even try to build off of it. It's not like they became a worse team or anything like that. Nope. No men's volleyball program, no more. Done. So I wanted to briefly give my 2 cents on this because a lot of people I know personally who go to the school who support the team, they were furious about this. Like, if I sound mad right now, which I don't think I sound mad right now, but if I do, it was way worse for them. The people who go to that school, the people who have friends that were on the men's volleyball team, the people who would watch the team play after the season they had, going to the Final Four, this and that. That is not something that you would ever expect. Like, I kind of saw this as, well, obviously it's not as surprising as the Luka Doncic to LA trade, but it's somewhat related to that, because that is not something I think anyone expected. I would really like, and this isn't even my school. Like, I'll talk about GCU on here, but they're not my school. And they literally just got rid of it. Like, that is literally one of the dirtiest things you could ever do to the players on the team, the families of the players on that team. Like, they didn't even tell them. They didn't even tell them they were getting rid of it. To me, that is very unprofessional. It's disgusting. Just overall disrespectful to not tell the players that you're getting rid of the volleyball program, especially after the year that they had. And I see Brian Francione, our host of the Beantown Sports Pound, tuning in here late. He says, "Good evening, Alden. Hope we can grow the company so sports like volleyball won't be disrespected." Exactly. Like after the season they had, like obviously colleges they care about how much money is put in their pockets. They care about the budget, this and that. But out of every single team, they got rid of the men's volleyball team after the season that they had, the best year in their 17 history, the best season by far. I I just thought that wasn't right, and I'm not the biggest volleyball nerd. That's what that's what IE Sports Radio has Karen Rodriguez for. So I'm not the biggest volleyball guy, but I needed to talk about it briefly just because of the people I know in person who go to the school. They were really offended by it. Just a very bad look for volleyball. And if you're a volleyball fan, you're mad at this. Like even if it's not your team, just that just was not right. It was just so unprofessional, so disgusting. But GCU fans, I feel bad for you. That's all I gotta say. And we're gonna keep it on GCU for a little bit before we wrap up this episode. We'll talk Arizona College baseball, and since I'm talking about GCU, we'll start off on them, I guess. But so GCU for baseball, at least some good news, I guess, after the volleyball run I had. 26-18 overall. And the baseball team, they have lost 2 games in a row. They lost their last game to UT Arlington after winning 2 out of 3 against them. And they lost their last game against BYU 10-9, so a really high scoring game. And they take on Sacramento State today, or they're currently playing Sacramento State today. It's the first game of a 3-game series. And then they take on U of A one final time this season. And then they take on Stanford, ASU, and then they end their season against Tarleton State for a 3-game series before the WAC tournament. So GCU is having their 8 games above 500, having a pretty good season. So, hey, Lopes fans, some good news for you after all. Take it while you can. So now, I had to end on GCU by showing them some love. You know what I mean? So now let's get into my school, the Arizona State frickin' Sun Devils. So they were the second Arizona team to reach 30 wins in college baseball. They're currently 30-16, and they've won 5 games in a row. So they are on fire right now. They swept BYU after losing to GCU the last game they played. After losing the last one, they swept BYU. The offense and the bats were on fire in that game from start to finish of that series. They won the first game 8-3. They won the second game 12-4, and they won the last game 16-6. And then the bats stayed alive for the 2-game series against Long Beach State. They scored 11 runs in the first game and won 11-1, and they won the second game 17-6. So for 4 games in a row, the ASU Sun Devils have scored over double-digit runs. 4 games in a row. So the bats are on fire. The pitching isn't the best, but they're doing enough to win the Devils some games. And they're currently taking on Baylor right now. I don't have the score on me right now, but they actually played the first game against Baylor today, and they have a 3-game series against them. And then for the final 3 series, they have Houston, GCU, and Oklahoma State to end their season. So while they are hot right now, let's see if the Devils can get in the rankings and finish off the season very strong. And before we wrap things up, let's talk about U of A. So U of A, 31-13 record-wise right now. And last time when I went live, their game against Texas Tech got postponed. But they did lose the series overall. They had a doubleheader against Texas Tech, replacing that delayed game or postponed game. They lost the first game 12-3. Won the second game though 2-1, and they lost the third game 3-9. And then they beat New Mexico State in the one game that they played against them 6-2. And then before their season ends, they close out their season against TCU for a 3-game series, GCU, Utah, and then Houston before the Big 12 tournament. So Some good baseball from U of A and ASU, and even GCU too. GCU is doing their thing so far. But yeah, after losing their baseball program or volleyball program, just very bad overall. Not a good look. Anyway, guys, that's gonna do it. AZ Sports Zone episode 42. Once again, everybody, thank you guys for tuning in this past hour. Shout out to everybody in the chat: Taryn, Big Mike, Chad, Marcus, our Bleeping City, and Brian, who tuned in. Turned in a bit later. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to episode 42 of the AZ Sports Zone. A lot of good stuff that we talked about today. Next week, we'll continue to talk about the Diamondbacks as they continue their season, as we continue to get players back from the injury list. We'll see if the Suns, if any news comes out with them in the future. We'll continue college baseball next week as we get closer to the tournaments. And if any Cardinals news breaks out as well, you guys know I'll be the first one to come back here each Friday and continue talking about that as well. So once again, shout out to all of our sponsors, of course, Planet Jerky, Vital Apparel, Seal the Deal Wax Seals. Once again, guys, you guys can follow me on X at the AZ Sports Zone IE and at the AZTRL. So follow both of those accounts where you can get the latest news of Arizona sports from yours truly. And once again, you guys are just now tuning in. That was it for this episode. Once again, I go live every Friday at 7 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. So stay tuned for next episode. Next episode, we'll have another good one as well. Thank you guys once again. Thank you guys for tuning in. See you guys next Friday. Stay safe. Have a great weekend. See you guys next Friday, and I'm gone.